The following animation explains the principle behind the process used in the additional biological treatment of wastewater containing grease. This solution is a system proven in practice consisting of two main components: the TC Basica Practica Plus grease separator system and split-o-mat FAT, an additional biological treatment system for wastewater. An ecological and economical solution. What intake limitations apply to wastewater containing grease? According to DIN EN 1825 Part 2 and DIN 4040 Part 100, separator systems for grease must always be used when grease and oil originating from plants or animals need to be retained from sewage. This applies to commercial and industrial operations and to commercial kitchens in particular. Many cities and municipalities in Germany have passed more stringent limits for lipophilic substances than the general maximum of 250 mg per liter. For the city of Frankfurt, for instance, a limit of 100 mg per liter applies for lipophilic substances in wastewater containing grease that are discharged from industrial or commercial operations. Yet conventional grease separators conforming to DIN EN 1825 or DIN 4040 Part 100 in most cases cannot meet this limit. What can be done when a grease separator is not sufficiently effective? Even when cleaned and serviced regularly, conventional grease separators are usually unable to remain within the more stringent limit of 100 mg per liter for lipophilic substances in wastewater. This is mainly because such wastewater partly contains emulsions, that is, non-separable oil and grease. These are unable to be separated from wastewater by grease separators employing purely physical processes. Split-o-mat FAT is an additional biological wastewater treatment system that utilizes the self-regulating capabilities of microorganisms in order to break down emulsions and in this way keep wastewater within legal limits. How does biological wastewater treatment work? Wastewater containing grease is collected from kitchen areas, for example from drainage gutters, and fed directly to the TC Basica Practica Plus grease separator. This kitchen wastewater first passes through an intake filter which automatically separates solids from the wastewater. The solids are retained by sieves, from where they are later conveyed by a fully automatic warm extruder to a 60-liter collection container for solid materials and disposed of odor-free. The wastewater containing grease flows onto the grease separator. There, separable grease are removed from wastewater by a mechanical process based on the gravity principle. Separable organic oil and grease are lighter than water and thus rise to form a layer on the surface. Separated oil and grease can in this way be drained into a 60-liter collecting container by way of a drain spout, fully automatically and with sensor control. The pre-purified wastewater is then fed to the split-o-mat FAT biological wastewater treatment system for the purpose of removing the non-separable emulsified oil and grease. During the first step, the discontinuous flow of liquid ensuing from the grease separator is collected in a buffer basin, the so-called integrator. This serves to compensate for any peak loads in the wastewater and thereby prevent overloads in the subsequent treatment steps or any damage to them. An agitator running at a slow speed continuously mixes or homogenizes the wastewater. This results in an even distribution of the substances contained in the wastewater as well as in a uniform temperature. Once the liquid in the buffer tank reaches a certain level, wastewater is discontinuously pumped into the two bioreactors or fermenters downstream. Bioreactors 1 and 2 contain a substrate which has been seeded with special bacteria. During the second step, the actual biological decomposition process takes place. The filling serves to increase surface area so as to nurture development of a microbiological system. A biofilm is formed by the bacteria cultures on the surface of the filling. The microorganisms used in the process are optimized with respect to their ability to break down specific substances such as grease, oil, and tenseeds. In order to efficiently break down fats, periodic alternation takes place between aerobic aeration phases and anaerobic resting phases. Oxygen is introduced using a separate compressor. During the biological decomposition process, organic pollutants such as grease and oil are converted into water and carbon dioxide. Following the second bioreactor, the grease and oil have been fallen of the extent that the wastewater now conforms to legal limits and may be drained to the public sewage system. Operation of the system is monitored at all times by a programmable logic controller, including a touchscreen panel for process visualization. Optional remote monitoring by means of a modem and telephone line is also available. Environmentally friendly biological wastewater treatment. Splitomet fat offers convincing advantages such as high degree of purification and thus reliable conformance with stringent wastewater limits for lipophilic substances. Almost 100% savings in disposal costs. Environmentally friendly method not requiring the use of chemicals. Individual selection of container models adaptable to existing space conditions. Operates reliably even during longer downtimes. Runs completely automatically with only a minimum of effort for operation, maintenance or disposal. A wastewater treatment system that has proven itself many times over in practice. Warranty of on-site service of the system by qualified technicians with optional remote monitoring through a modem and telephone line connection.